Good evening, everybody. Welcome to round 3 of our 1979 DRM Division 2 series, coming to you from Mainz-Finthen Airfield in Rhineland-Pfalz. I am Jason White. I'll be your play-by-play announcer for this event. And while the drivers are on their warm-up session now, let me run down the top 10 in qualifying for you as time expired. The entire top 10 consists of turbo cars with the exception of Tim Hille's entry. And the battle between Ford and BMW continues with great interest and excitement here. Qualifying on the pole, Grant Radal with a time of 58.975 seconds. In second place, almost 0.3 of a second back, is Nicholas Kirsten. Third is newcomer Stefan Schlacker. Fourth, Cezary Ślepinski. Fifth, Anders Nilsson. Sixth, Richard Wilkes. Seventh, Ricardo Mendez. Eighth, Tim Hille in a normally aspirated car, as I mentioned before, the only one in the top 10. And then David Saber, 9th, and Ray Radal is 10th. That's your top 10 in qualifying for this third round of our DRM 1979 Division 2 series at Mainz-Finthen. So, we move now from the flat-out and dense pine forest characteristic of the Hockenheim ring to a very different challenge. We're back at airports. This short temporary circuit is at the Mainz-Finthen Airfield, or Flugplatz Mainz-Finthen, if you prefer. During World War II, this facility was used by the Luftwaffe as a military airfield. It was captured by the U.S. Army in 1945 and was taken over by the French military in July of that same year. The wartime runways were removed and a new 1,000-meter-long asphalt runway was laid down. In the spring of 1949, the French withdrew from the Rhineland as part of the establishment of the Federal Republic of Germany. The U.S. Armed Forces returned and took over the airfield, which was renamed Finthen Army Airfield. And as a result of the establishment of the U.S. Air Force in 1947, the Army could use the airfield for helicopters and observation craft, things like that. From 1964 to 1990, the aerodrome hosted car races, as you know. The DRM series having raced here between 1972 and 1983, as did the DTM series from 84 to 1990. With the end of the Cold War and a reorganization of U.S. forces, Mainz Army Airfield was closed down starting in December of 91, and then by September of 92, the airfield was decommissioned and turned over to the Federal Republic of Germany. Since the U.S. Army withdrawal, the airfield has been operated by the Mainz Aviation Club, beginning in 1994, and was turned over to a commercial airport operator in 2008. So that's the abbreviated history of this very interesting airfield. The facility that we'll be racing on today, the surface, will consist of a lone wide runway where the start-finish line is there, and it's connected to a series of taxiways that lead it past the paddock area and Parc Fermé. The best opportunity for overtaking in this race will probably be at the west end of the runway, which is for our purposes turn 1. But don't be surprised if you see some action approaching the paddock area in the taxiways. There's a very abrupt transition in width from the runway to the taxiways. The taxiways are far narrower than the runway, and anyone getting a wheel off onto the grass could find themselves losing momentum, perhaps a couple of positions. So we'll of course keep a close eye on all parts of the circuit during the race. Our drivers will be going for 50 laps, which equals 107 kilometers. 107.5, excuse me. So why don't we take a look at the point standings going into today's race. Anders Nilsson, who won the first race of the year, if I remember correctly, is at the top with 32 points. 12 points back is Cezary Ślepinski in second. Third, Alberto Aquino with 16. Fourth, Richard Wilkes with 16. And fifth, Liam Dolan with 15. There are some tie breaks going on there as part of the rules, I believe. And remember what the point scheme is for this series. 20 points for the winner, 15 for second place, 12 for third place, 10 for fourth, 8 for fifth, 6 for sixth, 4 for seventh, 3 for eighth, 2 for ninth, and 1 for 10th. To be classified, drivers must cross the finish line after winning driver has finished. You can't stop on circuit because then you won't be awarded points. best 9 results count towards the championship total, just to make it that much more complicated for us play-by-play and commentators. So why don't we head out now onto the circuit. We'll see if we can hitch a ride with someone here and see what this Mainz-Finthen airfield circuit's all about. Heading out here, let's pick somebody who's finishing. Here's Ray Radal in his very, very cool-looking Ford Capri Turbo, and he's just finishing a lap, so we'll start with him. Here he comes off of the final turn. He's now onto the runway. You see that they're limiting the amount of space on the runway you can use with the cones on the right. There's a start-finish gantry on the left, so he is beginning a lap now, heading west towards turn 1 at the end of the runway, downshifting, heading into the corner. You can see there are tire barriers there to keep people honest. Heading into turn 2. Now we're on the taxiways. You can see the paddock area off to the left there, along with some geese flying. Downshifting into a right-left combination, following Bruno Chacon in his Lotus Europa. Upshifting. Now heading into a left-right combination. And you can see how close they come to those tire barriers. But if you want to go fast around here, you've got to be on the absolute edge. And that means driving as close to them as you can. Now, fading back to the left before we go into a hairpin section here. Heading to the right. And that brings us back onto the runway. And that is 1 lap of Mainz-Finthen. So it's a pretty simple track overall. Not really too crazy. But the biggest thing to keep in mind, I think, is that as here comes Ray overtaking Bruno, or going to go into turn 1. I think the main thing to consider here is the fact that, well, once again, turbocharged cars appear to be the preferred vehicle for today's race, because there's only one normally aspirated car in the top 10 in the person of Tim Hilla. But the big thing is that the transition from the big runway to the taxiways is a big funneling down of surface, and that's going to cause probably some, well, if not close quarters racing, a bit of banging and shoving. Hopefully not too much that it damages the cars, but in any case, that's going to make things very interesting. As we watch from above here, see, here's the taxiway, turning here, and here's back onto the main straight here. Actually, it may not be that big of a funneling down when you consider the fact that you have cones off to the right. Let's watch for a second here and see what the transition is like from the amount of the runway they can use to the turn. Downshifting, heading into it. Yeah, it is a little bit narrower, but not by much. So it's people want to really go fast. You can see there's Ray is going off onto the grass there. Keeping these cars under control, especially the turbocharged cars, is very hard. They're very tail end happy, and they don't seem to be getting much native grip from this surface. And of course here, we're going from asphalt to concrete, so the concrete is likely much more slippery than the asphalt. So threading your way, yeah, you see how much the car kicks out there for Ray. So definitely that's going to be an interesting aspect to today's race. And keep in mind, we're going for 50 laps, which really the reason that is so high is because it is a pretty short circuit. You saw or I read the statistics of qualifying. Grant Radal qualified in under a minute, 58.9 seconds. So everyone's continuing their. See how much time we have left here. About 5 minutes left until we go to the race session. Coming up at ISO, we have one more DRM Division 2 race that's coming up on Sunday, March the 2nd. This is a race at the Norris Ring, which is notorious for close quarters action. Very difficult. You have to haul the car to a stop for a hairpin. It's a very, very difficult circuit. Very simple, but deceptively so. And that will be round 4 of 11 in this series. That will again take place on March 2nd. Race start at 2000 CET. I'll have the broadcast for you. And following that, 7 days later, March 9th, the Indy cars are back in action. This time at the Portland International Raceway, City of Roses. It's the Budweiser G.I. Joe's 200 presented by Texaco. This is the 3rd race in the PPG IndyCar World Series. Sunday, March 9th, green flag at 2000 CET, and all the all the full-time cars are taken right now, but for this particular race, there are several very good one-off cars, some of them state-of-the-art equipment, 87 marches with Cosworth engines. So if you want to take part and you don't have a full-time drive, there's some choice vehicles there. It's not like you're going to get stuck maybe with an 85 march, which doesn't handle well. So consider taking part. That's on March 9th. Again, Johnny Aces will cover that race. Green flag will be at 2000 CET. Trivia question for you to ponder during this race. Who holds the Group 5 race lap record for the 2.150 kilometer version of Mainz-Finthen Airport Circuit? Is it A. Dieter Quester, B. Klaus Ludwig, or is it C. Hans Heyer? We'll have the answer later on in the broadcast. So I mentioned before, it's really become a battle between Ford and BMW at the front here, with the turbocharged vehicles seemingly having the edge. But it'll be interesting to see how the BMWs compare with the Escorts and the Capris at this circuit. It looks, I mean, precipitously, you can see it appears as if the Capri is wider than the BMWs, and of course that's going to be a problem getting around them on the narrower parts of the circuit. And you really, all you have to do is drive a little bit off of the line, especially if you're driving the kind of car that Ray is driving, and then you're going to head off any kind of overtaking thing here. Oh, there he goes. He's pulling off to the side. Well, maybe not. I don't know. So some drivers taking part in warm-up, others taking a breather, because 50 laps around here I'm sure is going to be quite taxing. I'm sure people are going to be tired after this one. Just trying to keep, part of the effort is going to be just to keep the car under control. Here's Mendez overtaking Keo Vakils. Keo having just secured a ride in the Indy cars too. He's going to be driving for the Gallus team full-time now. Here's Lipinski, who had a great outing at Hockenheim. Here he comes down the runway. He's looking in really good trim. I think he's probably one of the favorites to win today, if not Grant. But there have been some people who've had some bad luck throughout this series, and at least so far in the first two. So something to keep in mind. I mentioned a newcomer, Stefan Schlacher. He is driving. There he is back there. He's driving, if I can get him on camera. Yeah, there he is. He is driving in the place of Matthew Sibignani today. I'm not certain, but I believe this is his first ISO start, so we'll keep an eye on him. He's starting from third place, and that's a very potent car, so I'm sure he'll figure into the early part of the race. We'll see what happens. And of course, the turbocharged cars are going to have to be very careful to not push too hard so they blow up. I mean, that's really the hope of the cars that are through the teens. Most of the cars through the teens in qualifying are BMW 320s that are normally aspirated. So their best bet, or their best hope, is going to be that the turbos will blow up. We will see what happens. So 30 seconds now. I think that Grant has a great chance to win if he can keep the car underneath him and not make a mistake. Also, I think Cesarius Lipinski has an excellent shot. Nilsson being fifth, too, I wouldn't count him out. He's very good in that Ford Escort of his. Very competent driver in these silhouette cars, Group 5. All right, so clock is ticking down here to 0. Show you the map of the circuit one more time. Again, we're going for 50 laps, 107.5 kilometers. And that straight bit at the bottom there, that is the runway. And then all the stuff that's connecting up top that takes them past the paddock and some of the hangars. So it's going to be an interesting race. It's going to be a race of precision, a race that will demand total concentration from the drivers. And I know that nobody is expecting to make a pit stop, but the actual pit lane is between turns 3 and 4 and 5 there. If you straight line it there, that is the pit lane. So, all right, going to the race session now. And as soon as the cars start off on their parade lap, we will go through the grid for you. Here's some cars already firing up. Again, we had mentioned in some of the specs for this series that DRM was trying to even things out between the turbocharged and non-turbocharged cars, and never really did get a handle on it in this particular year, and the qualifying would seem to indicate that's the case. Some people still haven't gotten to the grid. There is Grant. He's waiting till the last minute to take the grid. He wants to not overheat the engine if he can help it. All right, so off we go on our parade lap. On the pole is Grant Riddall, D&W Team Zach Speed number 2. In second is Nicholas Kirsten, Walter Brunn, number 20. Third, Stefan Schlacker, racing in place of Matthew Sibignani, Rodenstock Worth, team number 5. Fourth is Anders Nilsson, Emo Klein Racing, number 12. Fifth is Richard Wilkes, Holkman Automations, number 23. Sixth, Ricardo Mendez, Team Albert Rodenstock. Seventh, Tim Hill in the first of the Jägermeister entries. Eighth is David Saber, Sax Sporting, number 1. Ray Riddall from Mampe Zach Speed, number 3. 10th is Alberto Aquino, Team Varsteiner TBS. 11th, Tiago Canola. I think I have to go a little faster here. 12th, Liam Dolan. 13th, Juha Boss. 14th, Cesare Slipinski. 15th, Rob DeBreeze. 16th, David Watman. 17th, Dave Miller. 18th, Simon Watman. 19th, Jonathan Asserklin. 20th, Mikael Drexler. David Yunt is 21st. 22nd, Bruno Chacon. 23rd, and having some trouble, is Jules Bouchard. 24th, Claudio Augusto. And 25th, K.O. McKeels. As we are looking for a start here, I think we're going to go one more lap here before the race is actually underway. The clock is at 0. And there is actually, now it surprises me that Slipinski was so low in the list, because my information was that he had qualified up in the 4th. So apparently that information was incorrect. But I can definitely see Grant Riddall, Kirsten, and Schlacker, and then Nilsson up to 4th place. So some kind of discrepancy with CC not being in the spot we thought he would be. But here come the cars now, looking like they're going to form up for a start. Oh, we're actually going to go back now to the. This is getting to be a bit of a tradition. Maybe there was a problem with the grid. Maybe that's why, I'm not sure. Or it could have been that someone left the server. But in any case, we are going to step aside for a moment and let them sort this out. And when we hear things kick off again, we'll be back in just a few moments for the start of the race.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
We now join the following program already in progress.
All right, we're back, and it looks like we're getting ready for a start now. One rolling lap before the start. Once again, Grant taking his time. Get to the right shot here. We're going to take a very clear-eyed look at the grid one more time. All right. We'll run through the grid again. A little bit faster this time. On the pole, Grant Riddall, D&W Team Zach Speed, number 2. Second is Nicholas Kirsten, Walter Brunn, number 20. Third, Stefan Schlacker, Roden Stock Berth, Team 5. Fourth, Anders Nilsson, Racing Team Emo Klein, number 12. Fifth is Richard Wilkes, Holman Operations, 23. Sixth, Ricardo Mendez, Rodenstock, number 9. Seventh, Tim Hill, Jägermeister, number 7. David Saber, Sac Sporting, number 1. Ray Riddall, Mampe Zach Speed, number 3. Alberto Aquino is 10th, Team Varsteiner TBS. Diego Canola making a surprise appearance here. Team Immobilin G-Race, number 18. Liam Dolan, number 16. Oppitzhauser, number 13. Juha Boss Rodenstock, Verth Team, number 4. Slapinski in the pit lane. I'm not sure what this is all about. 15th, Rob DeVries. 16th, David Watman. 17th, Dave Miller. 18th, Simon Watman in the other Sac Sporting, Capri. 19th, Jonathan Asserklint. 20th, Miguel Drexler. 21st, David Yunt. 22nd, Bruno Chacon. 23rd, Jules Bouchard. 24th, Claudio Augusto. And 25th, K.O. McKeels, who was DQ'd in qualifying because he ran more than the allotted number of laps. You're only allowed 15 qualifying laps, he did 16, so he was disqualified. The car in front of Grant there is a pace car. So here's Grant with Kirsten coming down. See Kirsten just behind him there. So this time, the clock is at 0. Once we hit the line, this time the race should be underway, as long as everything is safe and sanitary as far as the layout of the grid. That's for the officials, the admins, to determine. So here we go, heading out of the taxiway section of the track, now onto the main runway. And we should be able to get a green flag here. Watching closely here. As soon as that clock starts, we'll know we're underway. Car's nicely bunched for this start here. And the race is underway. Grant sprints into the lead. But look at this. He's got some competition coming up to the line here in the form of Schlacker on the left there, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Schlacker side by side with Kirsten trying to take second place, but it's not going to happen as they head onto the back side of the course. And look at that. Grant sprints out to an early lead. Kirsten having to defend himself from Schlacker as they head for the first right-left combination. Grant has the lead. Nicholas Kirsten is in second place. Here they come through this little switchback that takes them back onto the main straight here. Slapinski is out of the race. So I'm not sure what the problem was there. Maybe it was a hardware issue for him. Doesn't make much sense. But back onto the main straight here to complete lap number 1. Grant Riddall in the lead. Nicholas Kirsten in second. Stefan Schlacker third. Anders Nilsson fourth. Richard Wilkes is in fifth. Saber sixth. Mendez seventh. Hilla eighth. Ninth, Boss, and 10th, Dolan as they head into the first turn. Kirsten looking to get some purchase here. He runs off the course just a little bit, but not enough to cause him too much trouble. He is following the escort of Grant Riddall into the right-left-hand combination there. but he's staying right with him here. I don't think he can do much here. There's not enough room. But look at it. Look at how close they come to those tire barriers there. Then back to the right again. Keeping the car underneath you here is very difficult, especially for these turbocharged cars. When the turbo kicks, lots of wheel spin. Now back to the left and to the right. This is the hairpin here at the east end of the runway. And now accelerating as hard as you can down that runway. Here come the cars. Grant is in first. Kirsten is in second. And look, here comes Kirsten up the inside, trying to take the lead away from Grant Riddall. Has he done it? It appears he has. Yes, Nicholas Kirsten takes the lead in his BMW 320. And all these cars are right close together. You throw a blanket over the first three cars, but it looks like Grant's having a little bit of a traction problem there as they head into the right-left combination near the pits. Schlacher now on the attack, looking for a way by Grant as they come into this concrete section here. Different level of grip here, I'm sure. Nilsson fourth there, Wilkes fifth, sixth is Saber. Everybody doing a good job of keeping things clean in the early going here. Look at this side-by-side battle with Yount, and oh my goodness, a piece got knocked off there, so a little too close for comfort there, but everyone else, oh my goodness, Bouchard running way too far. Had to brake suddenly there. So here we have, and look at this, Schlacher is now looking at Grant Riddall as they head into turn one, but he's not going to make an attempt there. Look how someone already knocked down one of the tire barriers. Looking back, seems like everyone's pretty much single file. But very close together, so all it will take is one person making a mistake, and that is what will cause an overtake to occur. The other way, obviously, is if you have superior acceleration on the runway. Look at this! Mendez on the inside of Saber. Is he going to take him? He nudges him out of the way, uses the chrome horn, and gets by into sixth place. David Saber down to seventh there. Schlacher. Oh, look at this here. Grant Riddall trying to get by Kirsten, but Kirsten just has more acceleration down the straight there. We'll see if Grant can pop out and take... Oh, but look at this. There's already a problem, it appears, for Stefan Schlacher. Smoke coming from the car. Is it possible that he's already blown an engine? Is smoking, that's for sure. Nilsson following him. Yeah, that is definitely smoke from the engine, so apparently Schlacher has already cooked the motor. I'm not sure what he can do to remedy that except just drive a bit slower and cool it down, but I would guess that that car is not long for this earth. Third place had a great qualifying session, but I'm afraid he's going to be out of the race in short order here. Look at this fight here between Saber and Dolan. And Tim Hilla is in there as well with his normally aspirated Jägermeister entry. 3 wide, coming off of the corner almost, down towards the final corner. And look at that. On the inside, side-by-side racing right onto the, my goodness. And there's more smoke there. Oh, that is Schlacher that we're seeing up there. I believe smoking still. Yes, it is. Schlacher is smoking, and he's actually slowing down now, going backwards. So it appears that his race is done. And we have a yellow flag in this area. That is Schlacher. There he is. He's out of the race. So Schlacher is the second retirement to join, I believe, Cesariusz Lipinski. Only 2 cars gone at this point. This is Tiago Canola, and he's running 11th right now, where he started, so he had a decent start. He hasn't raced with us very much lately, so we'll see what he can do as the race unfolds, as Mendez is battling with Wilkes, trying to get him on the inside, heading into the last turn. He does get on the inside. Can he out-drag him down the straight? We're looking from Ray Riddall's car forward to Ricardo Mendez and Richard Wilkes, and it looks like Mendez may actually take him on the straight. He does. Mendez up to 7th place, Wilkes down to 8th. Downshifting, and there's some more side-by-side action. Oh goodness! Mendez off the track. He's going to be losing some places here. And thankfully rejoins without too much trouble. Actually bumps Raymerdahl there just slightly. But he didn't lose too much time there. He's still in 8th. Now look at this. Here comes Tim Hille up the inside of Liam Dolan. Is he going to be able to take the position? Downshifting on the inside. Nice, clean pass for Hille, bringing him up to 5th place. That's great. And remember, he is in a normally aspirated BMW. Most everything else around him here are turbocharged entries. So the lead 2 cars of Nicholas Kirsten and Grant Riddall broken away from Anders Nilsson, who is 3rd. 4th is Saber. 5th is Hille. And Dolan not far behind. 7th, Wilkes. 8th, Mendez. Yes, Ricardo Mendez. 9th is Raymerdahl. But look at the combustible mixture here as Mendez looking up the inside here of Wilkes, trying to get ahead. So Schlapinski is saying on the chat that apparently the track didn't tell him to join the formation, so something might have gone wrong there. I don't know, but in any case, Mendez coming up the inside here, or trying to at least. Of course, that puts him in the wrong place for the very next corner. So Nicholas is pulling out a bit of a gap now from Grant. And there you see Nilsson in 3rd. The closer battles are towards the back here with Liam Dolan stalking Tim Hille. And look at this group right here. Wilkes 7th, Mendez 8th, Raymerdahl 9th, and then you have Alberto Aquino in the Warsteiner entry, finished 3rd in an earlier race this year in 10th place. Riding on board with Raymerdahl now. Yeah, he moved up to 9th on the grid after Cesarius was not able to start. Heading into the right-left combination here. Things getting very tight here as Hille is looking like he wants to get around David Saber. Tim Hille in his Jägermeister Racing entry. This is the non-turbocharged entry. So he doesn't have the kick of a turbocharger that could make it unstable for him. So his car probably overall handles better, but he's giving up a little bit in terms of horsepower. And if you look behind him there, he's being stalked very closely. Moves to the inside in a defensive posture to try to stave off Liam Dolan, and he does a good job of doing so. He stays in 5th place. But Liam's not going to let him rest any as they're coming up to the right-left combination here. Here's an onboard shot. Tim Hille, and you can see Liam Dolan just behind him here. We're up to lap number 10 now, so the race is already 1/5 of the way over. Here are the leaders once again, and you can see that Grant is trying to close, but he's not able to. Nilsson 3rd. Here's Hille once again, harrying David Saber. Saber driving the Sachs sponsored Escort. Hille with his normally aspirated Jägermeister car, and then Dolan right behind him. Liam Dolan is also a normally aspirated car, so it's interesting to see turbocharged and normally aspirated cars mixed together here, as it looks like that was a little bit of a tardy exit for Saber. Is Tim Hille going to try on the inside? No, but look, Dolan tries him on the outside to try to place himself for the next turn. Can't get it done. But these three, this is probably the best battle on the circuit right now, as Hille tries again. Look at that. He's right on the back door of Saber coming out of the corner here, and he's going to have superior acceleration, no turbo lag, but terminal velocity. I think he's probably going to not quite get it done. But look, he's right next to, and now Saber, there goes that turbocharged power. Zach speed, he's moving away now. And Tim Hill has got a little bit more room between himself and Dolan, although Dolan kind of dives for the inside there. Hill right with Saber now as they come off of the corner, and there he is actually in a position where he might be able to shoot down the inside, but decides better of it. But this is very, very close racing here. Off the corner, you can see Saber's a bit tardy on exit again. Here comes Tim Hill on the inside. Is he able to get him going into the corner? He goes on the inside. Yes, he is, and actually Saber takes to the inside, but beyond the cones to defend his position. Not sure how that's going to be viewed by the stewards. In any case, Saber stays in 4th place. There is Liam Dolan right behind Tim Hill, waiting for any kind of mistake there. Uh-oh, looks like, I believe that's Bruno Chacon and his Lotus Europa being lapped. I don't think he's part of this group. In any case, so we have 3 cars now out of the race that I can see. 5, actually, sorry. K.O. McKeels, Mikael Drexler, and Alberto Aquino are all out of the race, along with Schlacker, who had his engine go, and this Lipinski, who never even started the race. He should be listed there as a DNS. So let's take a look at the cars coming through here as they lead through on lap number 13 out of 50. There's the leader, followed by 2nd place. 3rd is Nilsson. Here comes Saber, Hilla, and Dolan with Mendez not too far behind. But look at this, lots of scrapping going on here between these cars. So a lot of the best battles really are further back in the field. And look at this. Here comes Tim Hilla trying to get alongside, and he can't do it. It's the acceleration. But Dolan is a lot closer this time. Is Dolan going to try and overtake? He's coming to the outside because Tim Hill is basically taking a defensive posture. But look at that. Dolan sweeps by on the outside and takes 5th place from Tim Hilla. Fantastic driving. Hilla made it as difficult as he could by taking a middle line. And now look at this. They're side by side again, heading into the right-left combination. And Dolan maintains 5th place ahead of Tim Hilla. Excellent driving here. Now they're heading onto the concrete, now into this left-right combination. You can see there's Nilsson. Saber is in 4th, defending himself from Dolan. But here comes Hilla back in the inside. And right now, for the moment, he has 4th place. But it's going to go back to 5th here, I think, because, yes, Dolan takes the inside line. Going into that last turn. Uh-oh, parts and pieces flying. Both the front splitters, both the front wings on Dolan and Tim Hilla's cars have gone. You can see them. They're missing there from that small contact that they had. Now, is that going to cause them trouble? Here comes Mendez up the inside. He's going to take Hilla for sure. Mendez up to 6th place, and he's going to find that, actually, wait, now Mendez is 5th. So, Dolan ran off the track. Dolan, I think, found out there that without that front wing, he's giving away a lot of downforce, and the car simply didn't want to turn. So now these two are going to be crippled for the rest of the race by a front end that does not want to turn like the other cars do. So that's unfortunate, because it was a great scrap. Mendez taking advantage up to 5th place. Saber in 4th still. There's Nilsson, and look, he's closing in on Grant. Look, Grant is actually much closer now to Nicholas Kirsten as they head onto the main runway. Yes, either Nicholas made a mistake or something happened, but looking from the cockpit of Grant's car, he's got a little bit of a roll here. He might try to overtake him. Yes, looking out the window here at Kirsten. A little bit of a late break there, but not enough. And Kirsten stays in 1st place, Grant in 2nd. But he had a little bit of a roll on him there, and Kirsten had prior to this been out in front by quite a bit. Look at him fight the car going through these turns, just sawing at the wheel, just trying to keep it straight. Now into the concrete section. Look, oh my goodness! Grant nearly loses the back end of the car. Look at Kirsten. I think he had a similar bleep moment because he was into the cones there. Look at how close they are now, coming down towards the left-right combination that leads them onto the runway. And look at that! Nilsson takes advantage and slips through into 2nd place. But look at this. Here comes Grant. And it looks like he's going to get second place. He's got a roll here. Is he going to take Kirsten for first? There goes Kirsten. And now Grant is in the lead. Fantastic onboard camera shots there that we're getting. But these three are all right together. And look at that. Nilsson, it appears, is going to try again. He's on the inside. It's not exactly where you want to be for the next series of turns. Nilsson, side by side with Kirsten, almost as they head into the turn. Kirsten maintains second place, but Grant is back out in front. The other interesting part here that, we really don't know unless we talk to the drivers is the tires. What kind of situation that's going to bring as Grant leads. Kirsten back to second now. Nilsson third. Fourth is Mendez. Saber fifth. And surprisingly, still being challenged by Tim Hille, even though he's missing a front wing that would provide more downforce. But here he is in sixth place, shadowing Saber. Look at the fire coming out of the exhaust there as they now head onto the main straight. Again, Tim Hille is normally aspirated. Saber is a turbocharged Zach Speed entry there, as you can see him blazing on the back. And yes, here the turbocharger definitely makes a difference. He pulls away. I'm amazed, though, that Tim is able to maintain contact with him without it. Because, see, here's where it's going to be a problem. This is where it's difficult, because the front's just going to plow. In any case, Kirsten in second. Grant now stretching out a little bit of a lead over second place as they come through the concrete section here. He's got about a 0.8 second gap here between himself and Kirsten. And then you have Nilsson. Mendez might be part of this party before too long. His car is looking really good, and he's proved very racy. He's up 2 positions from where he started on the grid. We'll see if he can get into closer contact with the top 3. And it's still too close to call for the end here. I mean, you've got these 3 cars in pretty good contact with each other. Hille miraculously somehow is able to hang on there. There is Wilkes in 7th. Ray Radal is up to 8th now. Tiago Canola 9th. 10th is Rob DeVries. 11th, David Wattman. 12th is Dave Miller. Back racing with us after an absence in the Indy cars. And look at this. Here's Johnny Aces in his Team Albert Rodenstock entry with the really, really wide fenders. Juha Boss is attempting a pass on the inside. But I think, yeah, there you go. Juha on the inside, trying to overtake Asselklint and gets it done. Juha up to 13th. Johnny Ace is down to 14th. And there's David Yunt in the same group, trying to overtake on that. Oof, man. They're side by side, and there goes Yunt ahead. And he takes 14th place, so a couple of positions lost there for Johnny Aces. Hopefully he can rebound. Simon Wattman is in 16th, 17th Claudio Augusto in the only Alfa Romeo. 18th is Jules Bouchard. And Dolan, after his off-course excursion, it looks like he came in and got his car repaired. He's in 19th. 20th is Chacon in the Lotus Europa. And then 21st out of the race, first of the retirements, is Alberto Aquino. Meanwhile, up at the front, Grant still leads. And his gap has come down a bit now. It's about a half a second. It was 0.8 of a second before between himself and Kirsten. So this battle is not over yet. Kirsten closing in here under braking. But look at how Mendez is closing in on the top 3 cars in this group. So this could be a very, very interesting second half of the race here. It's 20 laps down coming this time around. We'll be at halfway at 25. Coming down the straight now. Looks like Kirsten's going to be able to hold off. Nilsson looked for a second like he was in a fighting situation here, but not quite. And then you have Mendez, who's getting closer and closer and closer, having a bit of a look there, but I don't think he's in a position to overtake yet. Saber kind of on his own right now. And Hille, I think, is going to have a really hard time challenging for that 5th place, missing the front end like that. He chose to soldier on with it. Liam decided to go in and get it fixed. So Liam lost tons of track position, and I think what Tim may not even actually be aware that it's gone, although the handling would definitely tell him so. Look at this. Here's Canola now beginning to harry Ray Radal. He was in 8th place. Look at this. Looking to get alongside him here. Is he going to try to outbrake him? No, I don't think so. But Tiago Canola hasn't raced with us in a while, and here he is showing that he hasn't lost his form. And right behind him there is Rob DeVries. You could just see him out the back window as they head onto the main straight there. Wilkes, you can see just ahead of this group in 7th. Nice exit, but oh, he just missed a shift there. That's going to cost him on the straight here. He's definitely going to lose some space here, and it might prove beneficial to Rob DeVries. We'll see. Now, Rob doesn't seem to be closing too much heading into turn 1. And look at that. Mendez has gotten by Nilsson. Let's see if we can pick up where this happened. It must have happened at the end of the long straight here. Must have popped out and passed him. But Mendez was looking very racy, and definitely that's what happened here. He was alongside. Yeah, there he was, alongside Nilsson, and got him under braking at the end of the runway to go up into 3rd place. He's been looking very racy. So now we know how he got there. Now we're back in the live action here on that runway once again. Starting lap number 23, and there he goes. He's looking to get by Kirsten. Can he do it? It appears that he already has, yes. There's Kirsten right there, and Ricardo Mendez up to 2nd place in his Albert Rodenstock BMW. Excellent driving here by Mendez. He's up 4 places from where he started on the race grid. Heading into the right-left combination, the question now will become, can he stalk and catch Grant Riddall? The gap is 0.8 of a second. Here comes Grant. And Nicholas Kirsten, for his part, is not giving up. Nilsson is also very close to this group, and Sabre has fallen a considerable amount back. So things have spread out here, but look at this. Here comes Canola having another look. Maybe? No, not really, but he is definitely trying to position himself so he can overtake Ray Riddall in his Ford Capri Turbo. Heading into the left-hander, and then the right-hander that leads him onto the runway. Onto the straight here, and that all-important turbocharged power, and heading down that straight. Looks like Wilkes got out of there pretty good, so it doesn't look like a overtake's going to happen now. But here we go. These front 4, 1st through 4th, right together. Grant leading, Mendez in 2nd, and looking very, very racy, looking for an opportunity to take the lead. 3rd is Kirsten after leading for a good portion, and Nilsson is just basically sitting back here waiting for the right opportunity. I think Nilsson is in a tactically smart place right now. He doesn't want to get in between these guys because he knows it'll just make things more difficult for him. Tim Hillett is now officially out of the race, joining Dolan, so apparently the damage to the car was too much to continue on and was just costing him too much time. Okay, on to the main straight now. The blue and black car you're looking at there is the leader, Grant Riddall, and looking right behind him here is, and there he goes, straight past. Look at that. Ricardo Mendez into the lead. Incredible. And he runs right off the track, my goodness, into an accident. Oh no! He just took the lead and missed his braking point entirely. Let's look at that in a replay. Here he is taking the position from Grant. You can see him in the back in the rearview mirror. And now he downshifts and just misses the turn entirely. And then it's to the left, damage, and obviously out of the race. That's terrible luck. A terrible end for Ricardo Mendez after such a promising drive. That's really too bad. So that puts Grant back in the lead again with Kirsten stalking him, and that brings Nilsson up to 3rd. So Nilsson is very calmly moving his way to the front, taking advantage of OPP, other people's problems. They're about to lap Bruno Chacon for the 2nd time here, I believe. Sabre all by himself here. And since the retirements of Hillett and Dolan, that's opened up a huge gap between Sabre and the next group of cars, consisting of Wilkes, Ray Riddall, Canola, and Rob DeVries. Miller is in 9th here, so the points cut off at 10th. So David Watman is the last points-paying driver here, as we are past half distance. Oh boy, there's more yellow flags up here. Something happened. Could be just the remnants of whatever happened there to whatever happened to, I can't be sure, but I'm not sure what the yellow flag is there for. In any case, look at this battle here between Juha Boss and David Yunt. Looks like it's pretty good. Boss currently in 11th place and Yunt in 12th. These two outside the points, but attrition being what it is, they may find themselves in the points before the race is over. Yunt braking very late there on the back end of Juha. Heading on the main straight here. Things have calmed down to some extent back here, but here's Nilsson now closing in on Kirsten. You can see Grant just ahead, so here's an opportunity. Nilsson has been very, very patient, has not engaged with the top two, or the top three rather, up until this point, so now he's got a chance to possibly move into the front. Left-hander here, and now the right-hand hairpin that leads them onto the runway. Accelerating hard out of that last turn, now heading down towards the other end, but it looks like Kirsten got a better exit there. These are all turbocharged cars here. Downshifting for this. And look at that, Kirsten right with Grant. So I'd say Nilsson is watching points here. Might take advantage of a problem that occurs. He did take advantage of somebody else's issues earlier when he's shot by when there was a battle going on, like a fox. And we'll see what happens here as they hit to the concrete section, and now we're going to do a left-right combination. Heading back now to the hairpin. And look at that. Ooh, that must have been very tempting to put his nose down the inside there, but he didn't do it. He's got a bit of a roll here on Kirsten, it looks like. But Kirsten starts to pull away. Kirsten is defending himself very well. Easily the most difficult position to be in here is Kirsten's, because he wants to look for a way to get by and into the lead again, but he also has to protect himself from Nilsson, as it looks like Grant may have had a little bit of a slow exit of that corner. But now, yeah, it's pretty even between these three. David is in fourth, and we see this big gaggle of cars there, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Doesn't look like anybody's really in a position to overtake. There it goes! Kirsten on the outside trying to take the leader, and that opens up an opportunity for Nilsson. And he's not able to capitalize, but here they're lapping, I believe, Jules Bouchard. I don't think it's going to favor one or the other in this, but look at that. Anders, I think, got a little bit of a better exit there. He's definitely on a bit of a roll here. Bouchard is going to make things more complicated. Yeah, that made things a bit more complicated, so he backs off going into the turn. Doesn't want to overtake when they're lapping a car there. Makes things more difficult, but there they come onto the taxiways. This is an excellent race so far. Lots of lead changes, lots of very exciting passes. I figured that's the way it was going to be. And a little bit of nudging and shoving to go along with it. As here comes Kirsten looking up the inside. Is he going to take Grant for the position? Down the inside he goes. And no, Grant slams the door, says no thank you. Heading into the next turn. Kirsten is looking for a way by, and basically Grant is just closing the door saying, no, no, no. My line, I'm taking it. Very tight entry into the last turn here. And this is another situation where if these two get too racy and lose momentum, Anders could shoot right by into the lead in just a flash. You watch, it could happen. The car that's directly behind them is actually a lap down. That's when they just put a lap down Jules Bouchard. And David Saber is way, way behind this group. So the question is, can Nilsson mount a challenge here with these two? Heading into Right-left combination to lead them onto the concrete in a second. Anders has an opportunity here maybe to outbrake Kirsten. Is he going to take it? No. He stays in line behind. Yes, Claudio is out of the race too, and Jonathan Asserkle is out of the race, so a lot of retirements near the back of the field. But things are still very, oh my goodness, Grant Riddall slows down and loses the lead. Is something wrong with Grant's car? Possibly, but he had a tardy exit there and is going to lose second place also to Nilsson, so something could be wrong. Although Grant looks like he's picking up speed now. He retained second place. Kirsten back into the lead. Grant seemed to suddenly slow up. Perhaps he missed a gear there or something. It didn't look like, at first I thought it was a terminal engine problem. But now look at this exciting battle here between former leader Grant and third place Nilsson, as Kirsten is now out in front once again. My guess is he probably missed a gear going onto the straight, and that cost him some time. So this is an interesting battle here. Two Ford Escorts here. One driven by Anders, the other driven by Grant. As they head into the final turn. Leading car, of course, being a BMW. And you can see how far back David Saber is there. He's way out of touch with the leaders, but in a fairly comfortable position. He doesn't have anybody challenging him right now, so he could cruise home to a very easy top 5 finish, which would be nice. Kirsten in the lead. We're now in lap 33, so the race laps dwindling down here slowly. Look at that. There's a bit of a agricultural misstep by somebody there. Nilsson right with Grant, not giving him any break of any kind. Don't think he's going to be able to get him here, but he's definitely ready to pounce at any opportunity. And of course, if these two battle, Grant and Anders, it'll just play right into the hands of Kirsten. Left-hander now back to the hairpin. It's all about what kind of purchase you can get off of this corner. And it looks like Grant beat Anders in terms of exit speed there. Ray is running right with Wiltz, it appears. And then you have this freight train of cars back here that are about the same. DeVries, Canola, Wattman. And it looks like Tiago has lost his front wing there, which is not going to help him. Again, you know, he's losing a lot of downforce there in the front. The car's going to handle differently. So that's a bit of a disadvantage for him. But if anybody can drive around a problem like that, it's Tiago Canola. Wattman in 10th. He's the last points paying driver. 11th is Juha, and he is being tailed still by David Junt. Let's look from the inside of Junt's car. 12th place, pursuing 11th place. Oh, and Jules Bouchard's just out of the race now to join Augusto and Mendez, who looked so good at the start. Look at this. Here comes David Junt. Is he going to go down the inside? He's thinking about it, but he knows that he's just going to get a fender there, and that's not going to really get him what he needs. Junt's an aggressive driver, but he's also a smart driver. He's not going to poke his nose down there if he doesn't think he can get by. So I would guess that some of these retirements, although we haven't had them on camera, I would think a lot of them are actually engine related. But we'll have to see once the race is over, and we'll find out how many of those are actually engine related retirements. As here's Wattman right with Canola. You'd think that he would have more maneuverable car with compared to Canola, but he's staying with him there. Ray shadowing Wilkes. Saber still in 4th. And this front group still right together. Nilsson looking for any way that he can get by Grant. He's looking on the inside there, but that doesn't really place him well going onto the runway. Coming off the corner, Grant looks like he's a bit tardy there. And here comes Nilsson. His attempt to get into second place. Is he going to do it? Looking out the side window here at Grant Riddall. Grant seems to have picked up some speed. So it does not appear it's going to happen this lap, but he certainly got out of the last turn there a bit slower than Anders did. Heading now into the second turn. Anders doing an excellent job of staying right with Grant. Downshifting now. Right, left. Onto the concrete strip now, and so much of how you do on this circuit is how you get out of corners, how you put the power to the road. Power is nothing without control, and that's really what's making the difference here. The people that can get the power down, like right here, coming out of here, the people who can get the power down the best, get the best speed down the straight, and that looked pretty even for everybody coming out of there. And Cesarius is quite right. Tire degradation is definitely going to start playing into this. Look at this. Grant looking up the inside. Just a look, but he's not going to go for it. He's just telling Kristen that he's there. These three, excellent racing here. Very fun to watch. Kirsten looking at an excellent points haul here. If he can, if he can continue on here, looking back at the points standings right now. Anders is in front, Schlapinski second, Alberto third, fourth is Richard Wilkes, and fifth is Dolan, but you don't see Kirsten in that list, but if a win would go a long way towards his moving up the chart in this series. So he's definitely seen an opportunity here. He does not want to give up that lead if he can avoid it. Looking back now from Kirsten's car, and look at that, Grant is right there just in case something goes wrong. Nilsson not far behind. On to lap number 38 now. Before long there's going to be 10 laps to go, and it'll be show and tell time if there's anything left here with these three cars, with the tires and how tired they are. They're going to have to show it. Here's Saber, who's actually was quite a bit out in front of Ray Riddall, who's fifth, and then you have Miller in sixth now. Miller is up 11 spots from the start. That's incredible. DeVries in seventh. Eighth is Wilkes. So Wilkes has moved back. Ninth is Canola minus his front splitter. And then 10th is David Watman, still in the last points paying position. So really the next, Simon Watman there is a lap down. So the next competition really for David's going to be Ray Riddall, but he's far back. Look at this. Here we go. Going down the straightaway. Grant Riddall is right alongside. Is he going to take first place? It says so on the chart that he's in first. Kirsten turns in, and yes, Grant Riddall gets by on the straight. Finally was able to find his way by. And look at this. Kirsten back at the inside and takes the lead again. Nudges his way through. Here comes Nilsson. Nilsson making it almost three wide. He's looking for any chance he can get to get by. Grant gets by Nicholas Kirsten again. Fantastic racing. Nilsson still in third, but that was a very hairy series of corners there, as here comes Nilsson looking again on Kirsten to see if he can get by. But Grant Riddall is back in the lead of this race. Just managed to pull enough speed on that straight. I'm sure it was down to just getting better purchase out of the final turn, and then he just sails the car past Nicholas Kirsten. Heading onto the main straight one more time. Looking from the view of Nilsson's car. Coming by now, we're going to be starting lap number 40, 11 laps to go. Second turn now. Look at how close these three are. Not really an overtaking spot here, Anders, but he's staying right there with him. Lots of power coming out of that corner there. If he wanted to, he might be able to nudge his way alongside here, but he's not going to do it. Incredible racing between these three. It's just been back and forth the entire time. Heading into the final turn. Nilsson gets on the power early. But not in a way that's going to get him alongside So they're probably just going to stay single file towards the end of the, although Nilsson could have a look there, but he's just too far back. Sabre fourth. Fifth is Ray Riddall. Sixth, Dave Miller in a fantastic performance so far. As he chases Ray Riddall, here's Dave, his onboard camera. But he's got a ways to go if he's going to try to catch Riddall. I mean, he's very close here. But I think that that Mampe, number 3 entry, has got a lot of long legs on the straight. David, beautiful driving there through the chicane. As they head towards the next one, left, right. Heading onto the main straight now. Oh, look at this! Things getting very close again here between Nilsson and Kirsten. You can't even see Grant. He's completely obscured there for a moment. And we now have 10 laps to go. We're back, actually more like 9.5. Heading into the next turn here. Nilsson looking for an opportunity to get by anywhere he can. The final turn. Oh, he got beautiful acceleration out of that turn, so he may be able to do it here. Now, Kirsten pulling away here. It's going to be slipstreaming that'll make the difference, if any. But these three are right together. They know what's going on. 43 laps. Or 43 is now the lap they're on. And this train of cars has got to spread out. Interesting how. Look at this. Here comes Boss trying to get by David Watman. Is he going to get it done? It appears he will. Yep. Boss actually is on the inside of Canola as well. Is he going to get him? Yes, he is. Boss makes 2 passes on the main straight. Good stuff. I mean, obviously, I think he was helped out by Tiago's car not handling very well, but that puts Juha very solidly into the points in 9th. Wilkson 8th. DeFries 7th. Miller 6th. And here's Ray soldiering on in his beautiful Mampe entry. Oh, look at this. Nilsson is right underneath the rear wing of Kirsten. I doubt he pops out. Is he going to do it on the end of this straight? Nope. He decides better. He's going to pop back inside behind Kirsten, but he seriously was close there. He could have made an issue out of it and broke a bit later, but I think he realizes that you're aiming for a very narrow corridor there, and we saw what happened to Mendez earlier. He doesn't want that to happen to him. Boss maintaining 9th place, although he's being stalked here by Watman and David Yunt behind him. Yunt looking to get alongside David Watman here and get into the points, but he can't quite make it happen. And look at that, Nilsson has gotten by. Let's do a replay here, see how this happened. Oh, he gets him on the inside going into the last turn here. Watch that, he just managed to get on the inside coming out of this last turn. He's side by side coming out of this turn. So it's interesting, let's see what precipitated this. Kirsten just had a little bit of a tardy exit there and he was able to get alongside. And that's all it took. And he goes by into second place. Wow. And now Nilsson is challenging for the lead. That quickly. He's right up there with the other escort of Grant Riddall. They've got to lap, I believe that's Bruno Chacon and the Lotus Europa. So Kirsten has been demoted to third. Nilsson and Grant Riddall leading. There's about 5 laps to go now. Who is it going to be crossing the finish line first? This has been a great contest throughout. Very exciting. Now they have to deal with the unfortunate presence of Saber's car, and he moves to the left to give them the room. But look at Nilsson looking for any kind of daylight he can, even in the midst of having to lap a car. These two Ford Escorts here looking very racy as here comes Nilsson up the inside. Is he going to take the lead? No, he's right behind, but just subtly, maybe just slightly love taps Grant. Into the final turn. Nilsson getting purchase on the inside. Is this going to be enough to get him by? There is Grant right out his side window. It looks like Grant got the better purchase off the corner. 4 laps to go. You can see, if anything goes wrong with these two, Nicholas Kirsten is right back there waiting in case something happens. Exciting, exciting racing. He's right with it now. Is he going to make the attempt at the end? No. Look at that, a defensive posture from Grant to keep him behind. Man, this is exciting stuff. Out of the paddock turns and now into the left-hander that leads to the hairpin. Who is going to have the best purchase coming off the corner? That's going to probably tell us who's going to overtake or stay in the same place. Great driving by Nilsson. Remember that these tires are practically shot. Grant takes the defensive line, basically saying, if you want to go around me, you're going to have to use the left-hand lane. But Grant definitely got away quicker, and now Grant sets up for the first turn. 3 laps to go, 48, 49, and 50. Things look pretty quiet back here. No overtaking really in the offing with this group. So we're going to keep it focused on the front here, where all the action is. Nilsson drops back just a little bit from Grant as they head through the concrete section near the paddock. Tires have got to be just worn down to nothing now, and the cars are very light on fuel, so they're going to be very tail end happy, I would think, to drive. And these cars been pushed to the limit. You wonder if anybody has pushed their engine too hard. Will it give up? But heading on to the straight, look at this. Here is Nilsson. He's right there with him. Is he going to be able to pull out and overtake? Doesn't look like it. 2 laps to go now as they head down the runway portion of the circuit. Grant Riddall first. Second is Nilsson. Third is Kirsten. Fourth, quite a ways back, is David Saber. Looks like he's going to cruise to a very nice top 5 finish. But look at the action up here. Nilsson driving some of the best driving he's done this year so far. I'm even including the Indy cars. He's looking really, really good. Is he going to take a shot at Grant here? No. Grant defending himself well, going through this turn here. And as we come onto the runway, it's going to be the start of the final lap of this DRM Division 2 contest. Turning right here. Can Anders get better purchase coming off of here? Looks about even. Final lap of this contest. Now, Nilsson having a look, but Grant once again driving a defensive posture into the corner. Nilsson also has to worry about Kirsten right behind him. He doesn't want to give up a second place if he can avoid it, but he definitely wants that win. Nilsson looking for any kind of opportunity. Is he going to try the inside here? He hasn't been doing it up to this point. Is he going to do it now? Let's see. Braking hard into the corner. No. He decides to, but look at this. Here's Kirsten bumping him on the outside. Kirsten side by side with Nilsson for second place. this plays right into the hands of Grant as they head now to the final turn. The inside line belongs to Nilsson, so he's going to likely protect second place as they come onto the main straight. The checkered flag will be out in just a moment. And here comes Grant Riddall. Grant Riddall is going to win this third round, and flashing lights there from Nilsson telling him great race. Grant Riddall wins. Nilsson in second place. Third, Nicholas Kirsten. Fourth to the line, Saber. Fifth is Riddall. Actually, he was a lot closer to David at the end there. Dave Miller finishes sixth. Seventh is Rob DeVries. Eighth is Richard Wilkes. Ninth, Juha Boss in an inspired drive came up towards the middle of the race. And 10th, the final points paying position is David Watman. 11th, David Yunt just out of the points. 12th, Tiago Canola with a missing front wing. 13th is Simon Watman in the other Sachs Sporting entry, number 2. He's going to cross the line here to take 13th place. 14th, Bruno Chacon coming into the Parc Fermé. 15th was Jules Bouchard. These are the car. That was the last car running was Jules, I believe. No, he was the DNF, actually. Then we have Claudio Augusto, Ricardo Mendez, Johnny Aces, Tim Hilla, Liam Dolan, Alberto Aquino, Michael Drexler, K.O. McKeels, Stefan Schlacker, who lost an engine early on, Cesarius Lipinski, who didn't start the race, actually, finishing dead last. All right, so that was the third round of our 1979 DRM Series Division 2. Very exciting race, very interesting to watch at the front there. Very hard fought right to the very end, and that was a very, very well-deserved win for Grant. Put up an excellent fight and kept the others at bay. Let's go now to the trivia question for this race. Who holds the Group 5 race lap record for the 2.15 kilometer version of Mainz-Finthen Airport Circuit? Is it A, Dieter Quester, B, Klaus Ludwig, or is it C, Hans Heyer? Time's up. I'm waiting to see if anybody wants to have a guess in our Jakob says B. Cesarius says B, and Barry Lynn says B. She's taking a kind of a shot in the dark there. Well, guess what? Those of you who said B, you are correct. The answer is Klaus Ludwig. And that record lap was set in 1982. All right, so that's pretty much going to close out the broadcast today. Really exciting race. Thanks to our competitors for putting on such a nice show. And thanks to our friends on YouTube for tuning in and having a look. We hope you enjoyed the show. Just one more thing coming up. We want to remind you what's coming up next here at ISO. The fourth round of this DRM Division 2 series is going to be on March 2nd, and that's going to take place at the Norris Ring, a track that many of us do not like very much, but some do. This is not an airport track. This is actually a very small circuit that runs around a very big concrete structure. Not sure what it's for, but in any case, it's another one of these tracks where purchase coming off a corner is going to be very critical. Sunday, March 2nd, the race start is at 2000 CET. Then, the following week, March 9th, we have Indy cars again. This will be carried by Johnny Aces on our broadcast channel. In Portland, Oregon, it's the Budweiser G.I. Joe's 200 presented by Texaco. Round 3 of 15 of the CART PPG IndyCar World Series. Sunday, March 9th, green flag at 2000 CET. So, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Again, your winner is Grant Riddall in a very cool scrap between himself and Nicholas Kirsten and Anders Nilsson. Very fun to watch. I'm probably going to watch it later on myself just to see some of the action, but In any case, thanks everyone for tuning in. This is Jason White saying so long from Mainz-Finthen. Everyone take care and be safe.